Namaskar. We will discuss the second part of the groundwater and well hydraulics. In first part, I have told you about the Thies method and Cooper-Jacob method, and the third method I will tell you, that is Cho method. In 1952, Cho has developed this method, and in this method you will find that plotting of data, that s small s versus time small t, is done according to the Cooper-Jacob method, but he has used the equation of the Thies method. So, you can say this is a combination of Thies method and Jacob method. In this method, what he has done, the pumping test data are the same, but he has given a standard curve. That standard curve is on the log paper. On the x axis he has plotted the value of W. On the y axis he has plotted the Fu function, and in between he has given the value of u. This is on the log paper. So, this standard curve is used for first. In this method, we plot the data according to the Cooper-Jacob method, and we will get the straight line. In this straight line, we will choose a arbitrary point. For that arbitrary point, we will draw a tangent, and we will determine the value of s there. So, for function u equal to small s upon delta s. So, delta s as determined by the, just like Cooper-Jacob method, we determine that is the difference per life cycle of the t small t. So, we will get, so when we get s small s upon delta s, you will get the Fu. From the Fu, you go to the standard curve given by the Cho, and you see you will get a value of Fu. For corresponding this value, you determine the u mid curve, and from that mid curve draw the perpendicular. So, you can determine the value of W. So, here you have determined the value of W, value of u. So, when these values given in the Thies equation, that is T equal to Q upon 4 pi s W, s equal to 4 T T U upon R square, 4 T T U upon R square, you will get the T and S. This is a solution of the pumping test data given by the Cho method. You can use this method. Now, these are the drawdown methods. We have seen that we are plotting the drawdown data, we are considering the drawdown data, but another method is given by Thies at the recovery method. Now, we are pumping a well, same well is pumped. So, drawdown, maximum drawdown, then after some time, after 1 day or 2 days, whatever the time, pump was stopped. When you stop the pump, water will rise up. So, this will be the drawdown period, and this will be a drawdown that is denoted by small s. But when period rise, water level rise, the difference from original static water level to this level is known as residual drawdown, and residual drawdown is denoted by s dash, small s dash. So, we are taking the recovery data. So, it is known as recovery method. Previously, we have taken the drawdown data. So, now we will plot this residual drawdown versus ratio T upon T dash, small t upon T dash. What is small t? Time since pumping started, T dash time since pumping stopped. So, there is a diagram is given. You see that pumping, for pumping period there is a drawdown curve, for recovery period there is a recovery curve. So, recovery curve is there, So, in recovery curve you will get the residual drawdown difference from the original to this recovery level, you will get the residual drawdown, and here the. So, drawdown time and recovery time, it is clear in the figure which is given to you. So, by plotting these data residual drawdown versus ratio of small t upon t dash on semi log paper, you will get a straight line. From this straight line you determine the delta S dash. Similarly, we have determined delta S in Cooper-Jacob method. Here we determine the delta S dash, because we are plotting the residual drawdown, and when we put this t equal to 2.3 q upon 4 pi delta S, you will get the transmissibility in meter square per day, when residual drawdown is measured in meter and q is given in cubic meter per day. From this method, storativity cannot be calculated. So, this is about the Thies recovery method. Now, we will discuss for unsteady radial flow in unconfined aquifer, right. So, in unconfined aquifer what will happen? We can apply Thies method in unconfined aquifer also, when there is drawdown is very small in respect of saturated thickness, but generally it is not happen. The assumption that water should be discharged instantaneously with the decline of the head is violated in the case of the unconfined aquifer. When it is violated, you cannot apply the Thies method. Then what you will do? Then Boulton has suggested, he has given the type curve for the study of the unconfined aquifer, because gravity drainage took place here in unconfined aquifer, and due to this gravity drainage, what will happen? Drawdown become very significant. Significant means drawdown will be more larger than the confined aquifer. So, here we cannot use Thies method, Cooper-Jacob Cho method for this unconfined aquifer. So, Boulton has given a family of curve there, and after the standard curve you will see that standard curve is given, that is after the Bureau of Reclaimation in 1977. On the semi log paper you see drawdown versus time is plotted. It is interpreted in terms of 3 segments. First part represents the in the initial period of pumping from few minutes to 1 hour actually. When you pump a well, it will represent the Thies type curve, means this condition will be similar to the confined aquifer. Pumping is continuous, then in second part what will happen? It will be, if you see the curve on this diagram, flattened curve is there. So, this will represent the delayed yield. You see that this curve of last period of pumping represents the unconfined conditions for the unconfined aquifer. This last period of pumping period curve can be utilized for the calculation of the T and S in these methods. So, by these methods you can apply Thies and Jacob method if in the third segment of the curve. So, now question arises, how many time we will pump a well so that third segment will come? It is very difficult. We do not know when the third condition will come. So, there is a empirical formula here. You see the diagram, these are given, standard curves are there. These are given by bracket, and you see first delay index is plotted on the log scale, and on the arithmetic scale type of material is written there. Suppose unconsolidated material is there, gravel, sand, what is the type of material of aquifer in which you are conducting the pumping test, you see, and from here you can determine the delay index. You see the second diagram. In second diagram, T minute delay index is denoted by letter small t d. So, second figure you see, on y axis T minute upon T d is plotted. Previously it was plotted on the semi log paper. Now secondly, it is plotted on the ordinary graph paper. On axis r upon small r, radius of influence, or distance between the pump well and the observation well, upon under root T d upon under root capital T small t upon capital S. So capital T means transmissibility of the aquifer if known, S is the storativity of the aquifer known, small t is the time since pumping started. So there is a curve. So by determining the distance between the observation well and pump well, you will get the R. So R upon this, if you get T and S, T is known to you. You are pumping a well, so small t is known. You will get a curve. So from here, because TD already known, so T minutes means minimum time required for pumping of a well, so that third segment of the curve will occur, and it means these period of pumping you can use these data for determination of the T and S in this of the unconfined aquifer. So here if type material is there, minimum time of pumping hour is also given. For examples, if material is silt and clay, the minimum time of pumping is 170 hours. For fine sand, it is 30 hours. For medium coarse sand, it is 4 hours. Leaky aquifer is that aquifer in which if you pump there is a vertical recharge, vertical leakage took place from the acutard. Above the acutard there is a unconfined aquifer. Below the acutard there is a semi-confined aquifer. So if you drill a pump in this well and you start the pump, what will happen? It contains water table also, it contains piezometric surface also. So how much leakage took place? So amount of water is directly proportional to the difference of water table and the piezometric surface. Means this much of amount is going as a vertical leakage. The acutard means sandy clay, layer of sandy clay, that is a confining layer. So it has got its Heidleck conductivity K dash and thickness is B dash. Then here the formula by which we can determine T equal to Q upon 4 pi S W U R upon B. So U equal to here R square S upon 4 T T, just like you have seen in the Thies method. U equal to R square S upon 4 T T. Now what is R upon V? R upon V equal to R upon under root T upon K dash upon B dash. Here I have told you K dash is the Heidleck conductivity of the acutard, B dash is the thickness of the acutard. So here Hantus in the year 1955 and Hantus and Jacob in the year 1956, 1960, 1964 has given the value of WURB upon 1 upon U. He has given a value and plotted the curve on the log paper. So Bolton also has given in 1960, he has given the standard family type of curve to solve this problem of the unconfined aquifer. So this is also a curve matching technique, just like the Thies method. He has plotted a standard curve WU upon RB and versus 1 upon U, then data drawdown versus small t is plotted, just like a Cooper method, but these are plotted on the log paper because our standard curve is made on log paper. So when we plot it, we will determine the 4 value WU, 1 upon U, small s and t. So when we put these value in the equation, we will determine which equation? T equal to Q upon 4 pi S WU RV and S equal to 4 TTU upon R square. So we will get the, because R is known there in the field, from the field, you will get the. So I have already told you R upon B. So there is a family type of curve of different value of R upon B. if you see the diagram which is given in the text clearly, there is a value written R upon B for each and every family type of curve given by the Boulton. So, this completes the determination of T and S in a small diameter well in confined aquifer, unconfined aquifer and leaky aquifer. Now, I will tell you the pumping test on the large diameter open wells. Why we cannot apply our Thies-Jacobs method on large diameter well? In large diameter well, what will happen? There is a effect of storage. So, our assumption of the Thies method is that the well has a small diameter, so that there is no effect of storage. If we apply Thies method in the large diameter open wells, then the results will not be reliable, because this assumption is violated here. Large diameter wells does not follow the assumption of Thies method. So, we cannot apply the Thies method. So, for the study of pumping test data on the large diameter well, scientists Papadopoulos and Cooper in the year 1967 given a method. For the pumping test on this large diameter well, they have given a family of curve on the log paper. If you pump a well and determine the drawdown data, and you plot on the log paper and compare with curve matching technique with these, you will get the T and S from this method. So, this method is T equal to Q upon 4 pi S W F U W beta, means it is just similar to Thies method. You see, in Thies method we have a F U, here we have U W and V. So, here Papadopoulos Cooper standard curve F U beta is plotted on the y axis and 1 upon U W is plotted on the x axis, and on the log paper they have prepared a standard curve. So, we should also plot these data, our drawdown data versus time on the log paper, and we will get the experimental curve. This experimental curve should be matched with our standard curve given by Papadopoulos and Cooper method. 4 value we will get. So, we can determine the T here of this formula given in the, it is given in the text, and I have told you. Similarly, beta equal to the, just like U means beta here, you will get T value from this. So, only this method is useful, because you see in our country there are very large diameter wells. They are found in the alluvial formation, they are found in the hard rock formation, they are found throughout the world. So, if you pump these wells and you apply the Papadopoulos and Cooper method, you will get the T and S by this Papadopoulos Cooper method. So, a standard curve is given in the text. You can use this curve for getting the T and S on the large diameter of the well. So, this complete about the pumping test data. Determination of the pumping test data are very important. For the development of the groundwater resources, you see there are 3 stages. One is exploration stages, second is evaluation stages, third is exploitation stages. So, I am telling you about the evaluation of the aquifer. How will, means how will, what is the yield of the aquifer? What type of pumping test? So, pumping test data, because you do not know whether water occurs under which type of condition, under unconfined condition or under confined condition or under semi confined condition. But the drawdown data versus T, pumping since started you will plot. Clearly by these data you can determine that whether confined or unconfined. See the first figure in which there is a curve, clear curve is there. That A diagram represents the ideal aquifer, that is a confined aquifer. But in the second B diagram, you see this curve is slightly in lower position and flattened like this. It means it is a leaky aquifer. So, by seeing the curve, you take the pumping test data in the field, plot them, their drawdown data versus time since pumping start, and get the curve. That curve will tell you about the type of aquifer. So, diagram A is for confined aquifer. Diagram B shows leaky aquifer. And third diagram you see, which I have told you about the delayed yield. So, it will give you 3 segment of curve here you are getting. Curve is flattened in between. This is a unconfined aquifer. If you see fourth curve, that is D, what is there? The drawdown data is on upside and drawdown data on the, this is a bounded aquifer. I will tell you what do you mean by the bounded aquifer. So, you see that importance of the plotting of the pumping test data is too much. You will get type of aquifer within a time. Nothing to do, there is no method, no instrument required, only you have done the pumping test, means you are evaluating the aquifer. T and S determination is the evaluation of the aquifer, which will tell you how much groundwater you will give. So, this I have told you about the plotting of pumping test data, drawdown versus time since pumping started. You will recognize the aquifer in very quickly in a minute. If you prepare a curve, you identify the curve and you will tell me the type of aquifer. Another thing I have told you, that is cone of depression. Cone of depression also very important characteristic of the transmissibility and the storativity of the aquifer, that is the aquifer material. Even without plotting the data, after plotting you are determining the T and S quantitatively, it is no problem. But even by seeing the cone of depression only, you can get about the, there is a low transmissivity. When qualitatively you can say what is the value of T or what is and S of the aquifer, how it can. Now, you see that when pumping test took place, cone of depression, it is a nothing but I have told you, this is a drawdown curve is developed. Pumping is continuous, then cone of depression is increasing in depth and extent with the increasing time of pumping. Cone of depression is formed. So, this cone of depression is a very characteristic of the aquifer. So, this drawdown, important thing you note, you can underline it. Drawdown at any given point at any time is directly proportional to the transmissibility and inversely proportional to the storativity of the aquifer. If you have cone of depression of a aquifer, if cone of depression is tight, deep, it shows low transmissivity. If cone of depression is wide and widely extent, it shows high transmissivity. And drawdown is depend upon the transmissivity than the storativity of the aquifer. This statement which I have given to you is very important, and recognition of the aquifer by the pumping test data, by recognition of the T and S by the cone of depression, by seeing the cone of depression is very important. I think you will remember these things. In this pumping test data, we have seen that this was the assumption that our aquifer should be infinite in a real extent, uniform in thickness, isotropic homogeneous. But in the field, we are not getting like this. Then what will happen? What we will do? So, in this, if aquifer is infinity, our R will be the infinity. Radius of influence will be infinity. So, this is the assumption. So, we are applying the this method. Suppose you are pumping a well nearby a stream, or you are pumping a well nearby a dike or fault, or nearby a hill, nearby a ridge. What will happen? The assumption your aquifer should be infinite in areal extent is violated. Then here you cannot apply the methods. So, this is a condition in which our assumption is violated. Then what we will do for this situation? I have told you there are two boundaries, permeable boundaries and impermeable boundaries. What are the permeable boundaries? Permeable boundaries are those which are visible, just like river, reservoir, canal. These are permeable boundary. Impermeable boundary are, for example, dike, underground dike is there. It is not visible from the ground surface. Reservoir, river you can see from the groundwater surface, but for dike you cannot see. Hill is there, you can see. So, these are the impermeable boundary. So, there is a Bell image theory to solve this problem. Bell image theory is employed here. There is Bell image theory which solve this type of problem, pumping of a well nearby aquifer boundary, that is impermeable boundary or permeable boundary. So, in this lecture we have studied the leaky aquifer, Papadopoulos and Cooper aquifer, which is applied for the large diameter well, and we have seen that how pumping test data are important in recognition of the type of aquifer very quickly. We have also seen that cone of depression is also a indicator for determination of the transmissibility and storativity of the aquifer. So, I think this lecture will be very beneficial to you, and you are all benefited by this lecture. Thank you very much.